Some species on this planet have the weirdest and most unusual ways of giving birth, or even taking care of their young, just like this unexpected extra baby and this example of extreme motherly love. Seahorses. In seahorses and pipefish, the male is the one who conceives and gives birth. Father seahorses incubate their developing embryos in a pouch on their tail. The pouch is the female mammalian counterpart of the uterus. Male seahorses transport the eggs but do not lay them. The female seahorse deposits her eggs into the male's pouch after the male and female spend time courting. The eggs inside the pouch are subsequently fertilized by the male. Seahorse fathers carry their babies in a pouch rather than in a uterus like human mothers do. Their pouch gives oxygen and nourishment of the developing eggs while also regulating temperature, blood flow, and salinity. Male seahorses normally carry their eggs for 2 to 4 weeks, depending on the species. Then they have 100 to 1,000 babies at a time. That's a lot of lovely little seahorses there. Similar to human mothers, seahorse fathers give birth by forcing their muscles to contract at a high energy cost. Spider matrophagy. It ain't easy being a mother, and for some female spiders, it could also be fatal. When these young velvet spiders hatch, their mother slowly regurgitates food to ensure they have all the nutrition they require. Her prize? Well, being eaten by her hungry offspring, to which she does not show any resistance to. This act is what you call matrophagy. The mother doesn't appear to mind either. In fact, her abdominal tissues begin to break down even before the young hatch, preparing themselves to be devoured. The procedure increases her nutritional value and makes her more pleasant. Mummy dinner time arrives about 2 weeks after the babies hatch. This is when the children rush to pierce their mother's belly and drink the nutrient-rich liquid. I guess you could call it a family dinner? The behavior may have developed to increase the chances of survival for the juvenile spiders in their harsh desert environment where prey is limited. Still disturbing, though. Both regurgitation and matrophagy are observed in other spider species, including those in the same family as Stegodiphyus lineatus. Kiwi. Many biologists refer to the flightless kiwi as an honorary mammal because it's so unbird-like, flightless, and nocturnal, and even the kiwi's feathers melted into fur-like filaments, and its nostrils relocated to the tip of its long beak, which it then uses to snuffle in the dirt of the archipelago's notably gigantic earthworms. It belongs to the ratites, an avian order that also contains ostriches, emus, and rheas, but the largest kiwis are only the size of a plump laying hen, and the smallest is the size of a guinea fowl. Most bizarrely, it lays an egg that can weigh up to a quarter of its own weight. This is by far the largest bird egg in terms of proportion. Think of it as a chicken laying a 1-pound egg, or a human giving birth to a fully grown 4-year-old. Like cheese. In fact, kiwi eggs are 6 times larger than those of other birds in the same size. In humans, a full-term infant weighs 5% of its mother's body weight. In comparison, the kiwi egg occupies approximately 20% of the mother's body. Kiwis are also renowned for being prolific breeders. A female kiwi can lay up to 100 eggs during her lifespan, for instance. Spotted hyena. While any animal birth is amazing in its own right, hyena births are particularly intriguing, and to be honest, a tad weird. The hyena is famous for its infamous laugh, yet the female hyena anatomy is far from amusing. Female hyenas have 3 times as much testosterone in their bodies as male hyenas. As a result, they become more muscular and aggressive. As if that wasn't enough, it also causes female hyenas to develop a pseudo-penis. This makes distinguishing between male and female hyenas extremely difficult. Females, like the males, have no external vagina and urinate through the pseudo-penises. Just when you thought it couldn't get much stranger, the unfortunate female's hyena must give birth via the pseudo-penis. No surprise here, but it's a terrible process for the mother and frequently tragic for her children. Hyenas often have litters of 2 to 4 pups, but unfortunately over 60% of them suffocate on their way out. Mothers are also at risk because the birth canal is barely an inch wide, making the delivery process typically lethal, as indicated by the high fatality rate among first-time mothers. Standing birth. You think 9 months are already long for human mothers, and just imagine the giraffes, which have a gestation period of 15 months. The 400 to 470 day growing phase ensures that the calf is developed enough to stand up and move about rapidly, which is crucial when you share your savanna habitat with many hungry predators. Giraffes are born in a Superman position, with their front legs and head first, followed by their body and then their back legs. Giraffe mothers give birth standing up to avoid damaging their babies' long necks due to the extraordinary size of their offspring. Surprisingly, the 2-meter drop from their mother's womb to the ground below does not harm, but rather benefits infant giraffes. This not only snaps their short umbilical cords, but also tears the amniotic sac. The impact of the landing also encourages the young giraffe to take its first breaths. Just wow. Being born is an exhausting experience, but sadly a giraffe calf does not have much time to relax once it enters the world. Young giraffes can stand, feed, and walk within hours of leaving their mother's womb. This is very important when they need to follow their herd away from the threat of fierce animals. Naked mole rat. Naked mole rats are highly social creatures that live in groups. However, each colony has only one reproducing female, the queen. She does not, however, come from a family line. If another female wishes to become queen, she must walk up to the present queen and kill her. Sort of a weird Smurf thing. Once queen, the matriarch begins having kids, usually 10 to 15 at a time, which is comparable to the number of pups born by other rodents such as mice or rats. However, the number of litters increases over time. This is because naked mole rats are the only mammals whose bones continue to grow after they reach adulthood. When the queen becomes pregnant, her invertebral disc space, or the space between her vertebrae on her spine, grows just a little bit larger, and then grows even more with each litter. At her prime, the queen can give birth to 33 babies, each roughly the size of a robust kidney bean, the biggest litter size of any mammal on Earth. Permanently pregnant. While the majority of mammals may become pregnant multiple times during maturity, there is typically a healthy break while mothers nurse their newborns. Of course, for some, having only 1 or 2 children in a lifetime is typical. Swamp wallabies, little hopping marsupials prevalent throughout eastern Australia, are an exception. According to new research, most mature females are constantly pregnant, according to a paper published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science on March 2, 2020. The animals normally conceive 1 to 2 days before giving birth. Swamp wallabies, like all marsupials, give birth to tiny, immature offspring that crawl to a specific pouch to nurse on their mother's milk. Apart from the European brown hare, these wallabies are the only animals that can become pregnant when already pregnant. This is due to the fact that they have 2 uteruses, each with its own ovary and cervix. We want to be permanently pregnant, though. Just thinking about it makes me tired. At each their own, I guess. Now it's time for the day's best pick. As you can see in today's photo, this horse is very much pregnant. I mean, just look at the size of that belly. And with what this horse gave birth to, it's no wonder why it's that huge. Extra baby. Although Am Heath in Thomasville was aware that her mare Raven was expecting a foal, both she and the vet entirely missed a second foal. Raven went into labor and prematurely delivered a colt in May of 2021, and Heath noticed that Raven was still in labor when she didn't get up to nurse. According to Heath, he took the filly out, and she was alive and feisty and happy. In other words, healthy. Heath further added that it was so petite, it's a miracle they're still alive. A miracle indeed. According to horsefactbook.com, a mare's chances of carrying twins are 1 in 10,000. To put that into context, people have a 3 in 100 chance of carrying twins. If the horse twins are born, they often don't survive more than 2 weeks. This is because generally one of them dies before delivery. Heath said her 3-week-old foals are doing well despite the fact that they're still battling with limb difficulties. She's called them Kylo and Rey from Star Wars, although calls them generally like Rey, sister. Parasitoid wasp. Caterpillars can be devoured by parasitoids, which munch from the inside out, in addition to being threatened by hungry birds and insects. Parasitoid insects, which attack and destroy their hosts, sometimes eating them alive, are frequently seen in butterflies and caterpillars. Wasps often place their own eggs within an egg, caterpillar, or pupa. Parasitoids begin their existence as parasites in or on the body of a host, but they eventually evolve into predators that consume the victim totally. Some wait for the caterpillar to develop from its egg before invading. The small larva hides inside the caterpillar's flesh, absorbing its host's nourishment and sucking its blood. To avoid injuring the host's essential organs, the wasp larva must keep its host alive. With no idea of what's coming, the caterpillar grows as it eats. When the larva is ready to hatch, it secretes chemicals that paralyze the caterpillar. With its host immobilized, the larva eats its way through the thick skin with the specialized saw-like teeth. Surprisingly, the injured caterpillar does not always perish. Some species even keep an eye on the newly freed larvae until they spin their own cocoons, and then mature into adult wasps. Suriname toad. The Suriname toad is unlike most other toads due to its flat, flounder-like appearance, triangle-shaped head, and tiny eyes. It also doesn't give birth like one. Childbirth ain't easy for any animal, but seeing a Suriname toad give birth can give even the most hardened naturalist pause. Rather than laying her eggs in the water like many toads, the Suriname mother keeps her eggs close to her. Extremely close. Close to her actual skin. Yeah, until her eggs hatch, the female Suriname toad stores them in holes in her back. When the eggs are ready to hatch, the babies begin to poke their hands through the holes until they can pass through. Although the narrative of the eggs hatching is both astounding and terrifying, These toads demonstrate very unusual behavior from the beginning of courtship. The toads begin hunting for love as soon as the rainy season begins, and instead of using croaks, the male toad makes a clicking sound with his hyoid bone to attract a partner. He then crawls onto the back of a larger female and mounts her. If she's receptive, the female will quiver in response to his hold. Then comes coitus, which can last up to 12 hours. What a guy. See you all next time!